Well, welcome back to week number 3. We're so glad that you joined us again, and we're going to make a little bit of shift tonight toward stewardship. And so,
Oh, hold on, before you go any further, Terry.
what's up? Oh,
Did you bring your coin?
wait a minute. You want me to do push-ups?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I have
you
my
brought us-
coin, so I am good to go.
I don't think you could have done 10
Oh,
push-ups.
come on. We will.
We'll see
figure this
later.
out
Maybe later.
We'll figure this
Push-up
out later.
contest.
I don't know about a contest, but I think I can do 10 push-ups.
Fair. That's fair.
But hey, we are making a shift today, and it's toward this idea of stewardship. Not an easy topic. Not an easy topic.
we're gonna
to
get
talk
real.
about. Yeah, and we want you to. We want you to get real. We want you to have some conversation tonight that's just free and honest and open. And we're going to give you a tool. You'll hear more about that in a second. But first, can you tell us a little bit more about, from this past Sunday, this concept of stewardship?
Yeah, from Luke 16, it's this fascinating story. It's almost like a dark character in this parable, this shrewd steward who's maybe a little shifty, and yet there's some kind of redemptive story behind it, which is what Jesus is really after, is saying if this sinful steward was so careful and so intentional and shrewd about earthly money and earthly possessions, setting up his earthly future, man, how much more should we as believers, as Christians about Jesus' kingdom, how much more should we be intentional and shrewd about what we're doing with our earthly possessions to invest in our eternal future? And that's really his point. And that's really what this discipleship journey is about. It's Jesus is more concerned about having something for us than getting something from us. He's about us investing for eternity. And so that's really what the focus is. And that's really what the Bible talks about. Where our earthly possessions are, that's where our hearts are. Now, here's a challenge. I found in my former ministry or life before ministry, rather, when I was an investment advisor and helped people with their finances, and what I've seen in pastoral ministry for many years, most people don't really have a plan. Most people are sort of flying blind with their money and spending their money in haphazard way. Don't have a budget, don't have a plan, have credit card debt. There's not a plan for how much they give. They sort of give whatever is sort of left over. And what the Bible would say about this is this is foolish. The Bible says this is the fool's way of doing it. There's a way of wisdom in how we plan our money, how we are intentional with our investments and our resources in a way that reflects God's priorities, not earthly or man's priorities. One of the things that Andy Stanley likes to say is you need to be knowing where your money is going. And that's what today is about.
And I'm guessing, from these buckets that maybe there's a lesson here sitting right in front of us. You want to kind of break this down?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I have $10 to help, but I forgot that I have a $10 bill, which isn't going to work. Do you happen to have change?
Let me check. It's just kind of random.
Is it just right next to the coin?
Just randomly, I have exactly $10 in my pocket.
Man, amazing.
Broken down.
It's almost like
it's
the
almost
Lord
like
planned it.
Yes.
Here we go. So you see these buckets in front of you, and I have $10, and based on what we see statistically in America, this represents the 5 ways that people can use their money. Okay, and so in America, most people statistically spend about 40% of their earned income. Okay, so that would be $4 goes in the spending bucket. Okay. Then, of course, we in America, we're known for our debt. A lot of people have debt, and the average American spends 30% of their earned income paying down debt, credit card debt, house, mortgage, car, whatever it might be. Okay, then, of course, Uncle Sam needs to get his cut. And for a lot of people, that's somewhere between 15 and 20%. So let's say 20% of the money. That goes to old Uncle Sam. Then we have what's left, which is about $1. And for most people, they give somewhere around 5% of their earned income towards savings. So drop 50 cents in there. And then, hey, whatever's left, Average American, it's somewhere between 1 and 3% of their earned income goes to giving. And that might be to a church, it might be to a charity or somebody homeless on the street. It could be a lot of different things. This is the average way that Americans spend their money. What do you think about that? What do you think God thinks about this? I know what God thinks about this because I've read the scriptures, and maybe you have as well. You've heard it in the sermon. The Bible tells us that God is looking for our first fruits. That is, he wants what comes off of the top, not what is left over at the end. And it shows whether or not we have a heart of faith, whether or not we're planning in a way that reflects God's priorities. And so let me do this illustration again, except this time, let me show you what it looks like to invest God's way with our money. So I'm going to take back our money from each of these buckets. Thank you, Terry. And we've got our money and our coins here. And so here's...
You're really good at math.
Thank you. Yeah. This is a second career maybe for me as a mathematician. So this is the way God, this is a better way. This is a wise way, like the shrewd investor, according to the Bible, okay? God says, hey, give to me up front. Give to me out of your first fruits. Now, a tithe is sort of like the training wheels of giving. That is a 10%. That's like a good starting spot. Now, we give cheerfully. The Bible in the New Testament doesn't call us to a tithe. It says give generously, cheerfully from your heart. Okay, not in a legalistic way. But let's just say we give 10% off the top of our earned income to giving. Then the Bible says, hey, it's really important to think about saving and save for your future. That's important. We shouldn't be dependent on other people as to the best of our ability. And so maybe you put another 10% of your income into savings. And then, of course, Uncle Sam, he's got to get his cut. But here's the cool thing about America. When we first give, when we give money, and when we save money, Uncle Sam gives us a little tax break. Thanks, America. That's good. So maybe that tax break leaves you with 15% of your income goes to taxes because of that tax cut. Okay, so we have some left. Then we have to pay off our debt. And if you have debt, the Bible says that debt is, especially like credit card debt, debts that have high earned interest rates. Those debts are like being in slavery. The Bible says we should free ourselves like a gazelle from the net. And so that might mean you need to pay off that debt. Maybe that's 20 or 30% if you have high debt. Let's just say it is. Let's just say it's 20% of your money is going to go to that. Then what's left over? Okay, in this case, look at that, 4.5 toward our spending. And when we do that, we have money left over to spend. Now, what we're calling you to do in this season is consider in this spending bucket, what might you want to give above and beyond to the Lord's work in a sacrificial way? And so this is what we're calling you to consider as you look at how you're spending. Do you know where your money is going? Okay, that's the first step. But then, is there anything out of whack? Anything sort of off kilter about your priorities?
Yeah, and that's what we're inviting you into tonight. We know this isn't going to be solved in one evening or one afternoon, but begin by looking at these words and thinking about your own life. Take a few minutes just to even have some open dialogue, like what is out of order or out of priority in your own life? What do you need to reprioritize? What are some simple things you can do? Like, okay, I'm not going to go get that Starbucks today, or, we were talking about lots of ideas earlier.
Yeah, like, it might be something like downsizing a car. Like maybe you don't need 2 cars or 3 cars. Maybe instead of an expensive car, you can get a used car that's a little bit cheaper. Instead of that luxury model, you can get something that's a little bit more basic. It could be something as simple as Starbucks making coffee at home and bringing it to the office. Or you can look at how often you go out to eat and maybe trim back and do date nights if you're married or whatever, with more simple ways like a picnic or something like that instead of out to a fancy restaurant. So just considering what are things that you can cut back to sacrifice and to be able to put things in proper order.
Yeah, exactly. And we hope that this really is an opportunity for many in our church to kind of reset and reprioritize in a way that goes even beyond simply on the move, but really can be a reshaping of how you approach your finances in your household, which ultimately is going to pay dividends in the kingdom.
That's right.
And that's what we're all about. So we want to release you to your group study as you go. Check one another to see if you have your coins with you. We're going to do some push-ups in the background here later on, and who knows what might happen, but
enjoy the rest of your small group time together.